look out!
Okay, if you didn't catch part one, go back and watch part one. That'll get you up to speed with what I'm doing here. I'm getting ready to pull the motor out. This is part two. Getting ready to pull the engine out with a lift. I rented a lift today, a hoist. So the last thing I've got to do is set up the hoist, get it rigged on here to where it'll pull the engine out, and there's a couple brackets that are for that, and just take the bolts that bolt the engine to the transmission, the motor mounts, and the mount in the back that I mentioned in the previous video has 2 bolts in it. Got it. I always forget that one. So anyway, all the motor mounts, everything that attaches the engine to either the frame or the transmission, all those bolts got to come off, and then the engine will come right out. Should have this out probably 30 minutes. Putting in a new transmission along with the new engine that I've already installed. Okay, the wheels are chocked and the chain is set up on the engine. I'm going to put a block of wood on my jack and put this under the oil pan and lift the engine up just a little bit and get the bolts out for the motor mounts. There's 3 very important bolts I failed to mention you got to get out, and that would be the 3 torque converter bolts. When you pull the starter, you should see them back there, and you can turn the engine to get to the bolts. So you take one out, turn it till you get to the next one, take that one out, etc. Those got to come out. She's broke loose. I have the transmission supported with the floor jack, which you can't see. You got a block of wood on top of the jack pad, and that's holding up this end of the transmission because most of the transmission is over there and sitting on the subframe. So here we go. For those that said you can't do it this way, you got to take everything out from the bottom. Watch close. There's a slot in the frame on this side that the crank bolt likes to go into, so you gotta kind of work it past that gently. You might need to lower the tranny, or actually raise the tranny some. It takes a little bit of finagling. I didn't completely remove the exhaust manifold like I should have, so that is a little bit of an issue at the moment. But it's disconnected from the exhaust pipe, so it should come right out with it. You want to be looking everywhere, everywhere. Front, back, sides, just to make sure you're not binding on anything. Like I can tell now, I'm pretty stuck on that exhaust manifold. I knew I should have taken it off. Got all but one of those nuts off of the exhaust manifold. No fancy editing.
What we do here is go back.
Okay, I did some preliminary investigation and found I have the 2 bolts that came out of here, but I have the 2 bolts that came out of the flywheel, or the ring gear rather. So these were all loose, and it seems to look like there's some metal around here, like these have been, I don't know, allowing this to rattle, or these 3 of these are tight and 3 are loose. And I know I put Loctite on these before, at least I think I did. At least you should. And I think that these are supposed to be new every time you change these. I believe these are supposed to be new bolts every time. Now these bolts, 2 of them were tight, 1 was kind of loose, which was this one. So I'm thinking that these bolts that are loose, because I had no codes, nothing, were what's making that horrible sound. I'm thinking that's what it is. So now the dilemma is to replace the transmission, since I already got this out and I got one, or leave it and put it back in and have it running tomorrow morning. I'm gonna think about that. Okay, here's what the engine bay looks like without said engine. There's a transmission with 220,000 miles on it. Plenty of room to get the engine out and in, no problem with that. Transmission though, that could be a bit tricky. You have to pull the axles out, disconnect the electrical, the motor mounts, the shifter mechanism, the other axle. I think I'm going to go ahead and pull this out, change it just because.
Look out!
Okay, I've been to the parts store. I got some new flex plate bolts. Loctite, because I do not want these coming out again.